Hello, everybody. Welcome to a drama fest worth of a show today. I'm going to steal Alan's joke and repurpose it for myself. What begins with F and ends with UCK? It's the Fire Truck Show. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited to be back, having almost everybody back. Gio and Phil are out doing the dang thing. But hey, we still have a full party, and it is about to be something different tonight. So how are you guys doing, John?
Yeah, doing well. Happy to discuss all sorts of friggin' heck today.
Of course, Alan.
I am friggin' all right and doing the thing here. I'm not doing the dang thing somewhere else like some of our other hosts. I'm here. I'm in my living room today since my wife is on a work call, so I have been subjugated to the backup podcast studio, which is essentially just my living room. So, yeah, doing all right.
Not bad. It's not a bad background either. It's a good look. And Ryan, how you doing, my man?
Doing well. Looking forward to just recapping what was a rather calm week for U.S. soccer.
I don't know how to break this one to you, pal. All right.
It took me a second. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. Let's talk about the crapping bear in the room right now. Let's talk about the Detroit City drama. I have my own thoughts on the matter, but I want to hear from you guys first. Whoever wants to go in, just jump in. What's some thoughts on the entire matter of censorship happening in the Motor City?
Weird hill to die on.
If you're basing your whole identity as a supporter around the F word, just kind of like recheck your sensibilities. I'll leave the hottest of takes to you here, Kaylor, but I just find it a little bit silly.
Yeah, I have a hard time with it too. Like I've saw some stuff like that came out afterwards with some other type of signage that been asked to pull down, but it is in unionism, and I think on Meg Linehan's show, she was talking to the head of the Women's Players Association, and she always asks, "Is this the hill to die on?" Like that's always something that you should ask yourself. And like as a supporters group, there are hills to die on for sure. There are things to take to the FO. There are things to put out colorful statements on supporter group picture backgrounds. This one just felt weird, and so I wonder if there's more to the story, but I didn't have the time nor the energy to dig much deeper than what was presented originally on the interwebs. And I think that basically boils down to, if I have to dig really deep on the interwebs to find if there's a secondary story, then we're not doing a good job communicating what we're really upset about. And it quickly became essentially, we can't say, or we can't hold up the F word. And yeah, so Kaylor, I know you're raring to go, so I will step out of the way and let you and unleash the beast, I guess.
Okay, this is a message to Northern Guard. Now, obviously, this does not apply to all Detroit City fans because we have a fair amount of ones that we're in contact with. They're incredible. Here's the thing. Northern Guard, this has to be one of the most selfish things I've ever seen in my entire life. You are a supporters group for Detroit City FC. They are not your catalyst for whatever. You are their supporters, right? And later on, it came out that this had something else to do with, a pro-Palestine sign, right? Which that got lost along the way. Why did it get lost along the way? Because it came out after. If that was what this was all about, then say it from the beginning. I didn't see anything about it. And on what is the biggest day of your club's history, your club, the one that you own, you are an owner of this club. And you are making the biggest day in your club's history about you. You have lost the plot of what a supporter is. Completely lost it. And I get it. I get it. It's about you want to share your message. You want to share your political opinions. You want to share your opinions on U.S. soccer. The federation is for effed up. I can't say that, because censorship. I get it. I don't like it either. But in your long follow-up statement to clear the air after you clear the air, because we will fight, we will win, and we always win. No, you come off as bratty, but in your follow-up statement, you mention the words, the atmosphere is so important in lower league soccer. The atmosphere is so important. What you did to cultivate an atmosphere in semi-professional and completely amateur soccer is commendable, and it is beyond impressive, right? But we have seen great atmospheres in lower league soccer, but if they don't have the finances to back it up, they fold. Where is Reno right now? Where is Reno? Where are they? They folded. They're gone. And your signs, your F words, your bear crapping on whatever is taking away money from the club via fines and through sponsorships that they don't want to be associated with the team. What team are you going to support when they fold? Because your actions are costing them money. So what are you really here for? Are you really supporting Detroit City, or are you supporting your own ground and your own hill to die on? That's it. That's all I got. All right. Now that I got that off my system, let's move on to other things, unless anybody has any final thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, like you hit the nail on the head when sure they bring up the Palestine thing, which is a really noble cause. If that was really the crux of this, that would have been the first point that people brought up. And like it almost feels like a cover at a certain point. But I think you hit the nail on the head. So
just need to All right. So after that, we had a really, really cool week. This was the first week that we've had the entire USL lineup roll out. And so cool to see. It is beyond cool to see. And we saw some really cool stuff come out of W League. The first match was Indy versus King's Hammer, John's Indy, which I think you even put out a little bit of a piece about Indy, right?
I did. I put out a very long tweet thread about it. Just kind of like breaking down things. I think I've hit on it a couple of times on the pod, actually, where what I love about this Indy W League side is how local the squad is. Like, if you go up and down the starting lineup and the roster, it's all people who like went to rival high schools that like I know their names from seeing our women's soccer team play, which is just, like honestly pretty trippy. The game against King's Hammer was really good in that you saw this matchup between like a 3-4-3 that Indy was running out and a pretty typical 4-2-3-1 from King's Hammer. But like any tactical innovation that you would expect from the championship or higher level soccer, any clean finishing that you would expect from the top levels of the game, were here in the W League. Like anyone who looks at women's soccer and somehow thinks, oh, this is a lesser product, couldn't be more wrong. And you saw that from the very first minute of W League action. So if you've got a local team, like I find it to be such an engaging way for myself to reconnect with like indie roots and feel like I have something that connects me back to where I call home. So like seek out whatever women's soccer you can.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I saw from the weekend from all levels anywhere, it's one of the coolest things, and I want to give it a shout out, is AFC Ann Arbor. Chloe Ricketts, 14-year-old, scored a goal. 14-year-old. This is a league that is going to catapult her collegiate and possibly professional career. I mean, UWS is awesome. What is it? WPSL. I think I got that in the right order. They are incredible, but the reach that the USL has to get this stuff out there, to get these names out there. I mean, Chloe Ricketts, have a bow. 14 years old. That's so cool to me.
I also do want to point out about Indianapolis. Apparently, they do play better on soccer pitches that also have other sports lines on them. Just throwing that out there.
That's a
but yeah, congratulations to the Indy 11 for getting the first opening night victory on some pretty well worked goals. Nice touches, finding the upper corners. Yeah, I think you're right, John, and it's good to see soccer like this, and up and down the East Coast. I can't wait for it to come further west to get some more eyes on this league.
And just looking ahead at some of the schedule later this week, you do have Detroit City hosting Racing Louisville's Super League or W League team as well. So that is certainly a match to keep an eye out for on this Thursday, the 12th.
Little sneak peek that I know of, Racing versus Detroit City will be this week's match of the week. So keep your eyes out on good shot on that, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, there's some really fun ones. I mean, that's the one that I definitely circled was this Racing versus Detroit City. There's a lot of talent around there. South Georgia Tormenta is facing off against South Carolina United, which both places are known to produce a ton of freaking talent. I don't know. This is so cool. I mean, I'm beyond stoked. After we had that the interview earlier a couple weeks ago, I was pumped, but now seeing it in person, it's better than I thought it would be already.
And a shout out for Gio, who will be having the first Greenville Liberty match this weekend as well.
True. What a beautiful branding, by the way. So we did have some League Two. Actually, we had League Two stuff finish up just a few minutes ago with Kings Hammer falling to Fort Wayne, which if you're following along, they had Fort Wayne almost had an absolute banger at the very end of the match to double their win 2-0 that just rocketed off the crossbar. Absolute nutty shot that was this close to being, I mean, it would have been on SportsCenter somewhere. It was crazy. But there were some other results if anybody else wants to jump in on some of those.
Yeah, one that stood out to me was the inaugural, I think, Louisiana Derby, LA Parish getting the win. I mean, I didn't watch the match, but just following along with like the growth of soccer such that we have a Louisiana Derby. And by the way, the LA Parish logo is sick. It's got this like clip art pelican. Great stuff. But you just kind of love to see it. And even the team name with the local ties to the fact that Louisiana is subdivided into parishes, like just awesome.
It's incredible.
I got excited because I thought there were mountains, but that's actually a bridge.
A little disappointing. Does knock off some points. John, to answer your question, it is racing. This one is a racing because they're in Louisville because of the Derby. So pretty cool thing. And I love when teams just take stuff from their area, right? Like you mentioned it with the Louisiana Derby. I mean, the crew, and it's KREWE, like small things. Like it's just like the little nuggets here and there, and you see it all the time in W League. One of the biggest wins was Ann Arbor, which is where Chloe scored in the W League. The very next day, they go out and just dismantle Oakland County 5-0. Oakland County, another top tier crest. Just going to throw it out there. So lots of good stuff. Again, if there's a League Two team near you, go. There's so much talent around there. So much.
And if you're looking ahead for just a few games to kind of keep an eye on for this weekend within League Two, you have Project 510 against San Francisco City, which is always a decent matchup. San Francisco City, he does a lot of really decent stuff. Asheville City gets their start. Minneapolis City begins their debut as well in USL League Two. So there's a lot of really good games across the country in this league.
Yeah, and it seems to be almost like every day there's a W League or a USL League 2 match. So if you are hankering for some soccer, they're usually always about like 7 Eastern, which for me is like right when I'm getting home. So it's like mid-afternoon snack of soccer for me. But there's pretty much, if you look at the schedule, it's like every day, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. Like you're going to find games to watch if you are soccer starved and you're waiting to get to like a FA Cup final match or whatever on coming up. You have plenty to get you to the end of the week.
Yeah, between today and the end of June, they just have 2 days without a USL League Two match.
Crazy.
So many teams, so much. Last thing I'm going to put out there is for this is Des Moines Menace. Yes, Corey Herzog, Des Moines Menace, also 2-time reigning USL League Two champions. Des Moines Menace beats League Two's, I guess, kit team in Minneapolis City SC. The Crows, wonderful branding. So, I mean, I guess are they their forward Madison? I don't know. I'm sure somebody has a take about it, but I haven't found it yet. But Crows are cool. Fun history. If you didn't know, the reason they're called the Murder because of like a group of crows were just near the pitch during one of the matches, and so they just kind of took on crows as their thing. That's the Murder, and it's harder. You're going to be hard pressed to find a team nickname better than the Murder. Incredible. But let's move on. We have some, if we want to go ahead, jump into some shockers and some I told you so's. We'll get into some of the championship and now League One stuff. So Ryan, where are you at, my man?
I don't know. Looking across a few of the games, I guess one that sticks out to me was San Antonio losing 3-0 at on the road against Phoenix Rising, Monterey Bay getting a 1-0 victory over Las Vegas were two of the results that kind of stuck out to me here in the Western Conference. And if we're going to dive into League One as well, is Forward Madison getting the 1-0 result, their first one of the year over a Richmond Kickers team.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked on that one. I fully thought that Kickers were going to win, and it was I didn't trust what I saw out of Forward. But hey, you get up for a derby, and anything can happen. I mean, that's rivalry. You know, that's the fun stuff. So it was a fun watch. I will give it that as well. If you want, I know not everybody's big into watching matches when they're not live. But if you have time and you're hankering for something, that one is a fun watch. So give that one a look too. Alan.
I would just like to say to San Antonio fans, I did my part, guys. You really let me down on that one. I had to apologize to Tulsa because I figured their loss to El Paso was all my fault. So I apologize to them. And then, the biggest surprise to me was definitely the Kickers Madison. Like, that was my lock of the week last week, I think. I trusted in Gio, and because I thought, there was that love there. It would be great. But chaos reigns, I guess, in League One a little bit. But, yeah, congratulations to Monterey Bay for getting that first home win. Maybe some home cooking will do them some good, and they can get some success to build on this season. I still don't think they're going to do a whole lot. But it's got to feel good to get a win under the belt and kind of build some momentum throughout the season. So I don't really have an I told you so because I think most of my picks were wrong except for Phoenix. And so the shock of the week is that I was actually wrong again for Richmond Kickers.
Monterey Bay and New Mexico United have the same number of wins this year.
That doesn't
On
feel
this
right.
on this line, New Mexico kind of can't score a goal. They
Unless
started
they
very
play
well.
unless they play San Diego and it's in stoppage time.
10 men, yeah. I don't. They started well. They've experimented with shape. They're getting 17-year-old Christian Nava into the lineup, and nothing is changing for them at the moment. Like, just given how Vegas looks, given that RGV kind of picks up points randomly, given that LA looks kind of competent, I don't know. It's looking a little bit sketchy for New Mexico right now, which I hate to see.
They're one of 4 teams in the league right now who do not have a win in their last 5 games.
That just doesn't feel right.
They're the only one in the Western Conference with that. The other 3 were Loudoun, Charleston, and Red Bulls.
Jeez. Okay. I do want, this is just a question. This is for anybody that can answer it. Like, what's wrong with Charleston? I mean,
They
honestly,
don't even try to attack. That's their issue. This team, if you look, they're the only team in the league that's under 70% in terms of pass completion. They play more long balls than anybody in the league by a mile. And yet they've got like a very talented midfield. They've got very technical players at the fullback spots. I don't know where the disconnect is that stylistically they just decided, you know, what's going to win us games, lumping it long every single time. It's very disconnected soccer right now. They're just the most frustrating squad for me to watch, I think.
more frustrating than my Legion. Wow.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Yeah, that one's Jesus. So this is not my place, I guess, to vent on that one. But all I can say is just Jesus Christ, man. Lord have mercy. Yeah, there were a few, I guess, shocking results, maybe, but I mean, it's also one of those things of any given week, any given time, whatever. Like, I guess Phoenix was a shock, but not really. It's Phoenix, you know. They're not as good as you would think they would be, but it's Phoenix. Monterey Bay, that was a shock, but in a vacuum, it's also against Lights. And who are the Lights? Are they good? Are they possible, you know, Loudoun USL champions? Or are they, what are they?
Schrodinger's Lights.
Trejo did get hurt earlier in that one and have to go off, and he's like their offense. But at the same time, like, they are very mercurial at this point.
Yeah.
That's a fancy
Also,
word.
Ryan is in our private chat just completely ruining everything about my self-esteem and my team, but it's okay. Hey, right now they're on a much needed break. Our players are off on vacation. I hope they're getting their mind right. Happy birthday, Bruno. You're not watching this, but hey, if you are, pal, happy birthday. I don't know. My biggest one is, yeah, I'm with Alan on this, is the Henny Derby. I was really believing in Richmond. I really, really believed in Richmond. And as Ryan puts in our private chat, am I enjoying the USFL? No. I'm going to take you guys behind the scenes, okay? So if you don't know, the USFL is being hosted in Birmingham. Everything's being hosted there. I get to go up into the press box and check that stuff out. They are some of the most disgusting humans I have ever seen. Do you know how many of the coaches' rooms are like the coaches' like press box rooms? I counted. There were over 50 bags of pistachios. No one eats that many pistachios. No one. Not even someone who likes pistachios eats that many pistachios. And they're disgusting. It's awful.
Hey, pistachios are like a top 3 snacking nut, maybe, give or take.
Yeah, snacking nut, not base your like 50 bags, man. 50. It was they're gross. But I mean, it's fun. It is fun. But I'm a little bit interested about this this whole like wrestling match. I don't have the match pulled up, so if somebody could send me a link, that'd be cool. Or like let me know what caused it. If I'm taking a guess, Joshua Phelps, who is their big Australian, something tells me he went in, did something, and got everybody all mad and whatever. That's my guess. Josh is a good guy, by the way. Don't act like I hate him because he's genuinely a good dude. But I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole lot of me rambling without any kind of cause.
Did Tulsa prove Devin Kerr correct about Detroit City?
I don't know if anyone watched. I think Kerr might have been on the Phoenix broadcast later that night, and he went in again on Detroit City fans. Like, it's kind of hilarious at this point. But I mean, Tulsa looked really good in that game. Stylistically, I think they were kind of designed to take advantage of how Detroit plays. Like, Detroit pins those win-backs really high up the pitch. Meanwhile, Tulsa kind of builds through these high wingers. Joaquin Rivas was delightful in that game, like just taking advantage of the channels, finding so much space. He should have been the player of the week in my estimation. It wasn't on the ballot for it, but yeah, just really good performance that Tulsa needed after a bit of a dry spell.
I mean,
because I didn't pick him.
Is incredible. Sorry, go ahead.
It's because we didn't pick that game, so I couldn't pick Tulsa. So they like, all right, here's the one we go full in.
They heard. They knew. They were like, Alan didn't pick us. We have the liberty to do whatever we want. We're okay, boys. We're fine. I don't know. I mean, I think this is fans of everybody. This is not just Devin Kerr. This is not just Mike Watts. This is not just us, right? Like, or it's not just Detroit City fans either. If you're a fan of anybody, just know that Devin is always getting a rise out of somebody, and it's not because he hates you or he's a bad person. He's just the poster. That's just what he does. That's who he is, and it's hilarious. It's like Nicholas Murray. Okay, love that guy. His power rankings are 100% to make somebody mad, and it's incredible. It's not about, oh, they're not respecting us. They're not respecting us. They probably do, but you're feeding the crap out of their engagements, and it's incredible.
Who would ever post a biased power ranking just to get clicks? I can't believe that.
I've never done that. Never in my life have I done something slightly controversial to get some clicks. Not me. Let's go ahead, segue, unless anybody else has any thoughts from the week that was. And no, let's do some predictions. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to have to find the list because I lost it. Okay, we're going to start off with the defending champions versus Orange County SC at home versus the USL Curse and champions FC Tulsa. Let's start off with Ryan.
I picked Tulsa to win this one. They are at least coming off the back of 4 losses before they got that win against Detroit City, but I still feel like they played well, as John had mentioned earlier in the broadcast, and Orange County has just not been a team I've been all too convinced about. Just one win in the last 5, so I'll back Tulsa with this one. Also realizing they only have 1 win in the last 5 as well.
Yeah, Alan's Tulsa, by the way. This is his team. Sorry, Loyal. Alan, who you got?
I'm going to go with a draw here. I think Robbie Kiernan coming back from OC will hopefully solidify a back line that might need a little bit of solidity. And I think that they're dangerous enough to score, and then not as good to let Tulsa not score. So I think they're going to settle for a home draw here.
John?
Yeah, I went Tulsa here. Really liked how they looked. This Orange County team, much like New Mexico, is a side that can't really score, can't really get it together. So I know they're at home, but I think that Orange County is going to drop this one.
All right. Hey, Tulsa admin, look at me. Look at me. This is my lock. You are my lock. FC Tulsa is my lock. If the boys lose, if they drop this one, you're not going to hear the end of it. And I know the admin doesn't play the games. Well, you're the one that started this violence, so it's your fault. Thank you very much. You're the reason you have a curse. So FC Tulsa is my lock. I really liked what I saw out of FC Tulsa. Rivas, like John said, is incredible. DaCosta is another great player. And the one that I'm going to really point out that I think the player that's going to give them the most trouble, Orange County, is going to be Bourgeois. I think he is going to be a thorn in their sides defensively. So, yeah, I'm taking FC Tulsa. Next up, we have Hartford, who beat the Loudoun USL champions last week, versus Baby Bulls, who are currently, I think, holding the wooden spoon.
Correct. Yeah, they're holding the wooden spoon bottom of the Eastern Conference. We had made the joke, I think, last week of the stoppable force against movable object, which is very much this matchup back up. But Hartford did get their first win of the season last week. And I don't know, it's a tough one to really make out. And when there are these matchups like this, I'm just more inclined to just pick a draw on this one, just because I think both teams are just going to cancel each other out.
Yeah, I think Hartford's probably the correct pick, so I'm going to go with draw.
Worked out for John last week, where he constantly kept saying, oh, everything's telling me to pick this team. How about I do the other one?
Hey, I mean, it worked out, didn't it?
It worked. It did work.
I will say that I took a real swing and picked Hartford as my lock last week, but if you watch a Baby Bulls game, they are in it every single time, and then they just find this way to like give up a late goal. And so in that context, against a Hartford team that's not all that good, I did end up going with a draw here.
You were leading it up to, oh, Baby Bulls got this. They're going to win. No, their big hurrah moment is the draw.
The overriding thought is that both these teams suck, so that cancels out.
Yeah, a little bit. I chose Hartford. I liked what I saw as much as I could. There's a lot of what they have in talent there. When it's hitting, it's good. It's just it never seems to hit right. But Baby Bulls, I mean, to John's point, it is always a close match, or at least they're competitive. I'm not saying it's going to be a good watch or a fun match, but it's going to be a match. And Hartford is, I think, going to win this one.
Looking back through the Baby Bulls season, they have 5 goals they've conceded past the 80th minute, including their last 4 goals they've conceded this season has been past the 80th minute.
So what I should hope for is for it to be a draw into like the 75th minute and then a freak lightning rainstorm, and they just call the game. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
You can just turn off the stadium lights and it'll do the same purpose.
Perfect.
How many random lightning storms happen in Hartford, Connecticut? Can someone please give me something on that? Because something tells me it is not many. Yeah, we don't, sorry, completely censored. We're taking it down. We brought it up and we're taking it down immediately. Sound familiar? Next up, we have the Miami FC versus San Antonio FC.
Just looking back through San Antonio's last couple of results, it's interesting. I mean, you're going back from April 2nd to now. They had a 2-0 loss to Phoenix, then a pair of 1-1 results against Orange County and El Paso. Oh, you add on another with New Mexico, then a 6-0 win over Monterey Bay, then a 3-0 loss to Miami FC. So it's a very interesting team that is still towards the top of the Western Conference. They're 3 points off leader Switchbacks right now. And I'm more inclined to think the Phoenix Rising loss is just one of those results you just kind of write off. It is what it is. And that they get a win in a bounce back game against Miami.
Owen?
I am going to go with the Miami FC on this one.
Congratulations, San Antonio, on your win.
Yeah, when I'm thinking about this one, Miami is another team that they push high down the wings. They play their fullbacks high. And if you think about like the average goal that San Antonio scores, it's winning the ball and then just blasting it down the channel into like Justin Dillon holding it up down that wing. So Miami is kind of really perfectly vulnerable to the way that San Antonio attacks, and San Antonio is going to come out spirited after that Phoenix result. So I'm feeling good. And I actually like just changed this in the Discord. So I don't know, believing in San Antonio here.
I picked San Antonio, but the more and more I think about it, the more I think Miami wins. If you want an enjoyable watch, I highly recommend you going back to the Legion match. Watch the first half of the Legion versus Miami match and just watch the back three. It is borderline pornographic, just like how pretty and just elegant that back three was during that first half, especially. I think San Antonio is a better team than Legion. I don't think that is a hot take in the slightest, but just watching that defense, it looked so good that I think in Miami it might be enough, but I'm going to stick with my original pick, go with a gut, and I'm going to go with San Antonio to get a scrappy goal to walk away with the result. Next up, we have Loyal versus the Switchbacks.
The Colorado Springs Switchbacks are still unbeaten at home this season with 5 wins. They haven't unbeaten on the road this season with 5 wins as they travel to San Diego. They have not conceded a road goal since Las Vegas scored against them on April 9th. That is 209 minutes of match play in that time, since they have picked up a 2-0 win over Tulsa and Oakland on the road in the interim. And I think they continue that really good form, Alan, and I'm sorry, but Colorado Springs takes the victory.
I would like to follow it up with half of the goals that Louisville has conceded was against San Diego in one game. They still have only conceded 4, not counting the Open Cup goal tonight on a penalty. But they've 4 goals in league play, 2 of those against San Diego. I think San Diego can score enough goals to get something against Colorado Springs, but I think Colorado Springs' offense is also really good, and San Diego's defense has been average or below average, maybe some freak goals, but when you let a team hang around for a while, that tends to happen. I'm going to put this out into the universe that San Diego gets a draw here at home against Colorado Springs. If this was in Colorado, I would still probably pick a draw because I don't want to, but Colorado's probably getting something out of this match for sure.
Yeah, I locked the Switchbacks on this one. I think that San Diego, for as much as I really enjoy watching them play and love their system, just kind of has this tendency to like shit themselves once a match. And when you're facing a team as lethal as the Switchbacks, you can't afford to be doing that. So that's pretty much why I'm going that way.
I picked Loyal here because they're at home. This was one of those matches where I just kind of picked whichever team was going to be the home team. I think they're even. I like Loyal a little bit more, and this is where I continue to rave and support my undying love for Nick Moon. No real reason in general. I just love the dude. I think he's incredible. So, Nick, you're awesome, bro. Next up, we have Area Code versus Indy.
This is a really interesting matchup that you have kind of in the middle of the table for the Eastern Conference, in the middle of that kind of playoff spot. And a win from either side would see them kind of be that outside pick for that top 4 or kind of necessary spot for a home playoff game. Memphis, if you're looking back across some of their recent results, has not been shut out in a game since that opener against Pittsburgh. But I think this Indy 11 team has certainly improved. They're unbeaten in their last 5, and I think this is going to be a really tough match to try and call. But I'm willing to at least take a gamble on area code and make them my lock to win this week.
Yeah, this was a tough one. Like I went back and forth on this one a lot, and then I realized I already wrote down 901 the first time, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go with it. I went the opposite John route. I do think we talked about this last week where it was like, hey, Indy's just got to be patient, wait 9-10 games. We'll see where they are at the end of those 9-10 games, and surprise, surprise, Indy 11 is after 8 games is sitting in 5th place. So I think they have a chance to get something out of this. But for some reason, my brain just went 901. And so I was like, all right, we'll just let it ride. I think it'll be a fun one. This is one I'll definitely like have to watch. This should be a fun match.
Yeah, went 901 here. I just like the look of this team. There's also this bit of a tendency for if I say anything bad about Memphis, Nia Logue is in my mentions. I'm obviously loyal to Indy, but I think that the recent run of form has been inflated a bit by a fairly weak schedule. So and I think Memphis is pretty for real. So there we go.
I said it preseason that I thought 901 was for real. I mean, I've been a big believer in what they've been building. It's incredible what they went from having an incredibly toxic locker room to building something that is sustainable and just awesome, and that hurts me to say. But I'm picking Indy here for a very niche reason, and it is Memphis plays on one of the most narrow pitches in all of the USL, and this is a Lowry side who does not play wide. They don't do that. Their game is very suitable to the pitch. And I think because of that, I think they're going to give Memphis a better run than other teams would at AutoZone. So I'm taking Indy for a very niche tactical reason. Next up, we have, I mean, honestly, the next 2 matches, the matchups could be match of the week, but like Riverhounds versus El Paso has the potential to be absolutely incredible.
I mean, we're looking at an El Paso team that has really recovered their form recently after what we thought was like a really kind of difficult and unlucky start to the season. They've scored 24 goals in their first 10 games this year. They've scored over that time 11 goals since they were last shut out on the back of 3 wins over Loudoun, Tulsa, and Los Dos as they traveled to a Pittsburgh team that did have a rebound victory over your Birmingham. Kaylor, I'm sorry about that result. So it did prove that
victory is one way of putting it. Massacre. They didn't even allow them to get off the bus. I'm disappointed in you, John, because the article did not say Lily Ball go Burr, because that's what happened.
It does prove that Louisville did not break Lily Ball entirely, despite Lily being visibly upset on the sideline. Shout out to John's gif of Lily's reaction, which is always a great rewatch. But I think this is going to be a really just fascinating match to see. Again, El Paso finds themselves back into a playoff spot, and with a goal differential of +7, something that's only a better mark than them is Pittsburgh, Louisville, and Colorado Springs. I think El Paso has what it takes to provide an upset. And also, just to look back at Pittsburgh's previous 5 games, it's been a win, loss, win, loss, win. So it would be a pattern for a loss, and it reminds me too much of Tottenham's form.
All right. I saw everyone picking El Paso, so I just went with Pittsburgh because again I'm behind and I need some points. But I think being at home is going to benefit Pittsburgh here. Some of those losses were on the road to Las Vegas and to Lou City. They beat the wins. The wins were on the road against El Paso, a 4-0 thrashing of Atlanta United 2, and obviously the previously mentioned Birmingham match. But I just trust Pittsburgh at home to take care of some business here. El Paso has had a good run of form, but I think maybe up against a good defensive side, they maybe run out of steam. But who knows? Pittsburgh has done weirder things in the past, and El Paso, I've been hyping El Paso for a while. I thought they looked good in a lot of those losses. So, but I'm going to try and buck the trend. And I think, Kayla, you went with me on this one, spoiler alert, but I needed some points. So I'm picking Pittsburgh.
If you think about that Louisville match for Pittsburgh, they got beat because they couldn't beat a 5-man press in terms of what Louisville was doing. And then they were conceding in terms of what Louisville was doing with their central creativity. And that's what's driven this El Paso team's rise in form pretty much to a T. So I went with El Paso here.
I went with Pittsburgh here. I've really liked what I've seen out of them. What we've seen, and granted, they've shored it up just a little bit, but Pittsburgh, I mean, this offense is still ridiculous. Is Dane Kelly going to be back for this one, by the way?
I want to say yes.
Okay, Dane Kelly, Russell Cicerone, and Forbes. Yeah, good luck. Like, that's going to be nuts. They're going to be at home. I think also Pittsburgh's defense is one that, El Paso hasn't come across yet. They're ridiculous. To me, this feels like a match that it's going to be another 1-0, maybe 2-1 grinded out win for Pittsburgh. They're just stupid. They're so freaking good, and it makes no sense. And it hurts me all the same. Next up is going to be preseason. I think a lot of people would have called this, match of the year. And coming into it, it feels a little bit lackluster. A little bit. Phoenix versus Tampa Bay.
With Phoenix at home, only once this year did they not score multiple goals, and that was in the 1-0 victory over New Mexico. It was a 2-3 loss against Allen San Diego when they made the visit. But I think a lot of us just weren't really expecting Tampa Bay to really struggle this much this year. Just one win in their last 5 as they sit 7th in the Eastern Conference. Granted, a victory would take them as high as 4th, but this is a Tampa Bay Rowdies team who do not have a win in their last 3 road games. You have to go back to the middle part of last year when they had basically a span of 3 road matches where they didn't get a win. Those were 2 losses to Miami and 1 loss to the Charlotte Independence. So I'm going to be backing Phoenix Rising to get this one.
Is Phoenix Rising still really good at home? Is that a thing that's a thing, right? That's the thing they do.
San Diego was the last team to beat them at home.
I heard it. I mean, I think San Diego is one of the few teams that beat them at home the last several times they played. It's like an anomaly for San Diego to show up at Phoenix and win. I'm making this my lock. I'm picking Phoenix because if they win, I don't lose my lock, and if they lose, then the West gets shaken up even more. But I think Phoenix is really starting to figure themselves out. They're building that confidence, and they want to kick Tampa Bay when Tampa Bay's down, right? There's some, I want to unfinished business ? With Phoenix still, I think. Although if things don't go their way right away, they might play themselves out of this match like they do sometimes in tough matches. But I think Phoenix has a point to prove that they're the team that they think that they are, and what better way to prove it than against a team like Tampa Bay that they have that history with. Of the last time they played was pretty gritty. There's that the GIF of their coach going in at Santi Moar. I think there's some brilliant things I think that are going to come out of here. So I'm picking Phoenix, and it is my lock.
Yeah, this was another one where I just changed my pick on the Discord. I don't know. Tampa, when they give up goals and give up chances, it's because their central midfield has been really disorganized uncharacteristically. They've had some time off after a run of really condensed fixtures here. I think they're going to come out with a lot of spirit. But that said, Phoenix's strength this season has been building through Aiden Quinn and Luis Sejas in that central midfield. So just those kind of countervailing factors are leaving me with a draw here.
I'm going with Phoenix here. I think we're really starting to see the Force Lasso-sized hole in Tampa Bay. I mean, Castellanos got hurt, and that's left them even thinner. I think that going away, I think they're going to really struggle against this Phoenix side. So, yeah, I took Phoenix here. Let's go into some League One. Definitely a lot. If you love chaos, you're going to love League One. Unfortunately, Gio is not here to tell us about how Greenville is going to win everything, but I can hear him already in the distance yelling at me. Greenville versus Forward Madison.
I mean, if you're mentioning chaos within League One, from 1st to 11th, that is a span of just 6 points separating Chattanooga to FC Tucson. And well done for Forward Madison to get their first win of the year. This is going up against a Greenville Triumph team who is also sitting on 1 win. And it's 2 teams that really need to get a result out of this one. Interestingly, when you're looking back through their 2 meetings from last season, they were both draws. So it's still certainly a result that could really help kind of turn a corner for both teams if they get a necessary win here. I have to back Greenville at home for this one.
Yeah, what's wild about that 6 points is Northern Colorado and FC Tucson both have a game in hand. Now it's again they're I think it's both against Charlotte, if my memory serves me correct. So they're probably both not winning those, but there is a non-0% chance that there could be less than 6 points separating the bottom from the top, especially if Greenville wins, who's sitting in 9th. Union Omaha has 2 games in hand. So it has been absolutely wild. If you look at the standings, it is like Christmas up and down with tons of draws sprinkled in. But I guess I have to pick Greenville. I think that's like the rule. Although Forward Madison did pull off a stunning upset last week, I do think Greenville has some climbing to do, and I think that they can do it against Forward Madison.
Yeah, I mean, I think every single time one of us has mentioned that result last weekend for Madison, we've called it, like what Alan just said, a stunning upset. That's because this Forward Madison team kind of doesn't ever look that strong. So I think informed by that, knowing what this Greenville team can do when they're playing at their best, I went with the Triumph.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I went with Greenville here at home. Forward Madison gets a big win. It was incredible to watch. But, yeah, I mean, this one feels like Greenville. They sputtered off the starting gate, and then they have looked good ever since. Really freaking good ever since. So I'm taking Greenville here. Next up, we have the ones who just lost the Henny Derby. We have the Richmond Kickers versus Union.
I really wrestled back and forth with this one. I really thought to myself on taking a Richmond victory on this one, but I ended up backing a draw on this one. We had mentioned Union Omaha and Northern Colorado Hailstorm were 2 of the teams in the USL right now that do have a game in hand. And I feel like Omaha will probably show a really tough match against Richmond, but the points will be shared.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat too. Of Richmond has been kind of up and down. Maybe taking advantage of a weak Tucson to come out pretty hot. Losing to a team that they probably, Chattanooga Red Wolves. They're sitting atop little standings right now, so they look pretty legit. And Union Omaha, there's just only been the 4 matches, so not really enough to show a whole lot there. So this was a tough one to pick. So when it was tough, I went with a draw. So that way both teams like it because I didn't pick their team to win.
Yeah, I had a hard time getting a read on this one as well. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. It's the parity in this league right now is pretty darn crazy. So I think that informed me with a draw here.
I would end up taking Richmond. I think it's going to be a close one, and I would not be at all shocked if Union comes out of this one with a win. But Richmond at home, it's hard for me to pick against that. And then the last one, gotta find it again, is going to be the Sad Boys at the top of the table versus El Fuego, who I don't know if you guys saw the pictures from the match against Greenville. They looked incredible. The Central Valley support is top notch. Who we got?
I'm going to take Chattanooga to win this one. I think just atop the table, they've been playing decently. Well, they're the only team in USL right now to have 3 wins within their last 5 games. And I think they continue that form, especially against a Fuego team that it really depends on which one that they get on the road. There could be a team that can get a good result or that can really FM a result out of Madison on the road, or they can concede 3 goals visiting Union Omaha. So I think it really depends on which road Fuego team we get for this match.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that one either. I think I've picked against Chattanooga a whole bunch, and it hasn't worked out for me. So I'm going to pick with Chattanooga now. They seem to be one of the better performing sides, although they lost to Tucson. I don't know. This League One stuff is really hard to figure out where people actually are, because Ryan said some of it's just some inconsistent performances and some freak things and funky things happening. But I think Chattanooga has enough to get this one done, and particularly at home.
Yeah, this is kind of a classic from last week where my head is really telling me that this is a Chattanooga win because of the home, because they're a good side. I'm just feeling a little bit of magic from the Fuego here. It's also the sort of thing where I mentioned Niall Logan, I mentions like the Villian-Biev effect here. So going Fuego.
I mean, that's fair. That's completely fair. I went with the Sad Boys. I mean, Mountains and Wolves. I mean, what else could you want? The kit power alone, the crest power alone will propel them to victory. I do think that if they end up winning the USL Cup this year, I do think we should be invited to the parade because of Wolves and Mountains. I think that should be a requirement. I'm just floating that out there. I also think that Red Wolves are just a really good team. And like Ryan mentioned, I mean, this is a Fuego team that is so they flip-flop all the time on who they are. Sometimes they massacre, an El Paso team. Sometimes they just forget who they are and just stop playing. It just kind of depends on what you got. And I think that Chattanooga is just consistent as consistent can be. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I was going to at least bring up this one topic. Given the parity that we've seen in USL 1 and just how close together some of these teams are, do you think we get a team that loses out on that crucial last playoff spot due to a tiebreaker beyond a total wins tiebreaker? If you're looking back at the USL 1 table from last season, the last 3 teams, Tucson Kickers and North Texas, finished even on 40 points entering into the playoffs. And a counterpoint, can we get all 11 teams to finish even on points?
Now, for that to happen, we essentially have to have draws from here on out. Basically, somebody has to catch up, somebody has to lose, and then draw from here on out.
Or just win your home games. If you win yours and you win mine, if we win our home games, you win your home games, then we're even on points. And then we got to figure out a way to get them to everyone needs to win 2-1. That way the goal differential is the same and the goals scored in the league games are the same. And then the 4th tiebreaker is points based earned against top 4 conference finishers. But if everyone's even, then point percentages apply if unequal. And then fair play. Just make sure refs give out equal number of yellow cards, and then we're just going to do a giant lottery. It'll be like Survivor, where we all pick rocks, and that's how we're going to determine who makes the playoffs. I do think it's a real possibility for League One, at least the way it is right now, where teams that you think would not beat teams are beating teams, and I'm all for it. I'm all for a little bit of chaos. Personally, I'd like to see like more of like a play-in, like a playoff against each other than if it's for a playoff spot, because no one wants to be like you got one more yellow card than we got, right? I think there's the World Cup that was how a team got eliminated from knockouts, and that doesn't feel great. But I think it's a very real possibility we might end up with a tie break on either wins or on goal difference.
Be so incredible. I do like this side. Ryan, can you drop the new USL tiebreaker? This one, forget goal differential, forget head to head. We fixed the USL. Ryan fixed the USL.
Talent show. Each team nominates one player from their team to perform a talent.
Holy shit.
Okay.
I want to see someone go up there and like try out their stand-up comedy routine, or come up with an acoustic guitar and say, "Anyway, guys, here's Wonderwall."
Most of them are going to be singers. Somebody's going to have an awesome party trick, like magic trick, that they're just going to whip out, and everybody's going to go nuts. Somebody's going to be incredibly funny, and I have a feeling that somebody, I don't know who it is. It feels like it's going to be a Forward Madison player. Can kill it with puppets. Like, it's just an absolute puppet master. Can just absolutely tear it up. Definitely Forward Madison. That's probably we'll figure it out. That I think this should be. I think instead of an all-star game, I know everybody wants a USL all-star game. It should just be a complete USL talent show.
I mean, that could be one of the skills competitions, right? There's like fastest player, like target, the accuracy, and then like maybe like a game of horse with targets, and then there's like instead of having like a band perform, it's a league-wide talent show where one person from each team is nominated to perform a talent. I think this is a great idea, guys. Like,
this is the new U.S. Open Cup. Like, if you want to make sure that the League Two and all the other teams can go up the ladder and beat anybody, I say forget playing the match. Are you kidding me? Do you know how much I want to see Corey Herzog's Des Moines Menace go against, I guess, still reigning U.S. Open Cup champions Atlanta United, and Corey Herzog has to go against Joseph Martinez and sing Country Roads and as the finals? Come on, that's electric. That's electric stuff. Oh, man. I don't know where else to go with this show. This is ridiculous, but I want to see it so badly. Speaking of the U.S. Open Cup, though, Detroit City and Lou City are going to penalties. So let's tune into that. In case you missed it, Detroit City fan poured beer at a Lou City player today. Was promptly kicked out. So good on DCFC, but
he thought it was a hydration break, so he apologized.
I can see how it'd be confusing as I am holding a beer during the run of play. The ball did go out of bounds, so I guess that's fair. So get on. Don't throw beer at people, please. Anyway, I want to see the very end of it. So let's go ahead in the show. What are some final thoughts? John, what you got?
Yeah, two things. One, check out Barry on HBO. I gotta shout out Random TV and Movies every time. Just the best show. Bill Hader is immensely funny and shows off his acting chops. And then secondly, a bit of a personal thing here. I'm going to be dropping like a 70-page guide to the USL, like every team's tactics, league-wide trends. It's an absurd project, and I can't believe I've put this together, but dropping it tomorrow.
more power to you. The fact that you do it for free is stupid. I do not want to be your financial counselor because they would be screaming at you right now. That's not my job. Man, I'm excited to read it. Alan.
Congratulations to the now 16-time Major Arena Soccer League champion, the San Diego Sockers, beat the Florida Tropics. Very exciting 4-3 victory. Sorry, Tampa Bay fans. 16 championships, back-to-back championships. It was super fun to check it out. If you haven't watched indoor or arena soccer, check it out. It's highly intense. It's fun. It's essentially leg hockey. And hopefully Pablo Maro was there this weekend. So hopefully we see some words from him regarding some indoor soccer, because the lineage back in American soccer history to Arena Soccer League is pretty amazing. They are the most successful soccer team in American professional soccer by far. 16 championships. So congratulations, San Diego Sockers.
It's ridiculous. Ryan.
I thought Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was pretty solid. I walked away decently satisfied with the film and excited to see where they go from here with the characters. Certainly check it out. There's a lot of really good stuff in it, and I thought it was a good time.
I really want to see it. I've heard so many good things about it, but I am super excited and I'm pretty pumped. I guess last things from me. I guess I want to use this as a platform to tell you to listen to some kind of classical music. I've been obsessed with the Dvorak 9 New World Symphony lately. So listen to that. The second movement, if you're feeling some type of way, will get you to bawl your eyes out, and it's incredible. I love that piece of music, so give it a listen. And the other thing is, I started working again back in service industry, and while money has been decent, I want to die. Had the experience of having a guy. The nicest thing he said to me all night was plates now, and I was like, bro, you don't even have food, but okay, I'll bring you plates. Nicest thing he said. So hey, people listening and watching, be a nice human. So anyway, that's the message I leave you. Be a nice human. Don't throw beer at people, even if you think it's a hydration break. USL needs a talent show, and that's it. Cue the Allen music, boys.
Thank you for watching another episode of the USL Show. This and every episode is brought to you by the Beautiful Game Network. Find podcasts and other written work at bgn.fm. Once again, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you guys again next week.